Hello, hello. All right, we are live. We are live. Happy to be here. A little late, sorry. Everything is 10 times as hard. I finally got my cast on. It's looking like a little foreign object, but I'm ready to rock. Takes me longer than normal, and I'm a little bit slow on this at the beginning anyway. So let me share this. Okay. All right, we are rocking and rolling. All right, today we have a fun subject, and I did almost no slides. Somebody told me that I get better when I do less slides and talk more. But it wasn't because of that, it was because of this. It's kind of a pain to do all the slides and typing and stuff. So let me share my screen. Let's see if I have it. Hold on. Okay, let's share screen. Here we go. Ready to rock and roll. All right, today I do not have an acronym, but I'm cheesy. I did not let you down. Don't worry. I do have, today we're doing 5 C's to crafting messages that inspire action and drive impact. So I want to start, well, let's just, all right. Do you remember? If you are watching this live, hashtag live. If you're watching it on the replay, hashtag replay. But I want to know if you remember, what was it that happened? What was it that happened to collect $220 million for ALS research? Who can tell me down below? Tell me if you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to wait a couple of seconds and see if anybody's answering, because my guess is anybody around now kind of remembers this. So I'd love to see if that's true and where more or less you are. I'm going to reveal it in a moment. All right, so on the left, who is that? Bill Gates. And on the right, Elon Musk. And there were a lot of prominent figures, celebrities, politicians, business, anybody who was anybody got into this. I don't know if you all remember it. And that's how they got the $220 million. It was something like either you donate $100 or you donate $10. If you didn't want to pour the bucket of water on your head, you had to donate $100. I don't know, something like that. And most people ended up donating. Obviously, these people donated a lot of money and did the bucket on their head because it attracted so much attention. And that is what great messaging is. If you can create something that people stand behind and can help you push forward, that is really, really fantastic messaging. And you're like, who's going to stand behind pushing my business? It's not that. It's that you have to have a message that's so strong that people do want to get behind you and help make that a reality. And in our world, it's a little bit harder, but not that hard. I mean, one of the messages that I push that hopefully you're all behind is, you need to do the work to build an actual business. Some people try to start their business, they get a couple of clients, and then they skip over the work and they don't understand why that next phase isn't really working. Why can't they get those consistent clients? And for me, it's because you need a personal brand. And Elon Musk, I use him as an example for everything because he is like the best example of a personal brand. People would buy whatever he puts out there because they believe in him. And that's exactly what you want in your business. You want to be able to launch something and not even really say what it is and just have hundreds of people buy it. that's what you're going for, right? And not that you're going to do something bad. No, it's everything that you put out. They love it so much because you're helping them and you're inspiring them and you're helping them take action and impacting their lives and their families' lives. And, you know, depending on what you do, we're all coaches. So whatever you do is impacting, and it's always a domino effect. When you impact one person's life, it's never just that person. It's everybody that they touch, every life that they touch around them. So anyway, tangent there. All right, who remembers this one? Me too. Again, celebrities got behind this one, and people were now talking about being I don't know how much I can say on a live, but you know what I'm talking about. Women were out there saying, this happened to me too. This happened to me too. And it created this entire movement of people, of women mainly, but men got behind it too, of saying, you know, this has to stop. It was actions and perceptions and things like that that they were fighting against, right? Being in the workplace and things that went on. So this is really not even gone, I would say. This one's so fresh. I think I forgot to put the next one in. Let me see what it is. Okay, I did. I was going to do a couple. I went backwards. Let's see if I can reverse. I was going to do a couple more of these, but I got tired. Another one was, I think it was like For the Girls. Who remembers that one? When, I'm going to butcher this. I think it was ISIS kidnapped a bunch of girls and they started a movement all over the world, you know, it was For the Girls or something like that. I can't think of it. If I saw it, you know, the thing, I would be able to say what it is. But people start these types of movements to get, obviously, you know, you want to, if you're doing a charity or something, you want to be able to collect that money. And this pulls on emotions and heartstrings. How can you duplicate that in your business? And why am I even telling you this? You know, you're like, oh, I don't have anything so spectacular. Another great example that I love, anytime you can add something like social, I can't think of the word right now, but anytime you can add something, let me give you my example is, remember the shoes, Zappos, when they first started, not Zappos, it wasn't Zappos, it was, my brain is not back to normal yet. I don't know what the problem is. Tom's shoes, when they first started, they went almost viral because of their messaging, but their messaging had to do with what they were offering. And every time somebody bought a pair of shoes, they would donate a pair. So buy a pair, donate a pair, buy a pair, donate a pair. That messaging went viral, and that's how that company skyrocketed up. And people can get behind it, like the ALS thing. Of course, people want to donate to ALS. Of course, people do not want, you know, me too. Of course, people do not want their wives, their daughters, their sisters, their mothers being attacked, is the word I can think of that I can say, in the workplace or anywhere else in life in general, you know, anything bad happening to them. So people can get behind that. Why is somebody going to get behind what I'm saying, for example? And, you know, maybe a very catchy, clear message would make it better, right? For people to be able to repeat it over and over and over. But why would people get behind that? Because if I can pull on your heartstrings a little bit to help you understand the impact it's going to have on your, you know, your future, your family, your legacy, for you to build your personal brand and to get away from thinking, oh, kind of, that's, you know, it feels kind of weird. It's kind of egotistical. I'm talking about myself. I'm like saying how awesome I am. If you can get away from thinking that and realize that the bigger your personal brand is, the more people you will impact, the more people that will tell other people. And that is like that wave that just keeps going out. You know, you tell us that the little pebble in the pond, but that wave that just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. Well, the same thing with your personal brand. The more you can elevate your online presence, the more you can help people, the more your impact and your reach and everything else just expands. And so you want to be saying things that people understand and people relate to, and that will help people in general. All right, Dollar Shave Club. So I'm using this one so you do see that there is like a monetary, a brand one behind it. But Dollar Shave Club was or is is it still around? I know I think it was Unilever. One of them bought it for $1 billion. And this, if you don't remember these commercials, Google or YouTube Dollar Shave Club, because this was marketing like at its best. And their messaging, and it was not like one line messaging, it was their messaging, right? Their messaging basically was, are you frustrated with the generic stuff that you're buying? They went through like this whole thing, and it's funny, it's relatable. It grabbed people's attention, which, as you can see, all pouring water on the head of Elon Musk, that grabs people's attention. That type of thing. It grabs people's attention. Well, Dollar Shave did a great job in their ads. And it was because of their messaging. They repeated it over and over. Obviously, it starts with that hook, with grabbing the attention, but their messaging, they repeated over and over, and they got people behind it. And it went viral. And so that's what you want to do in your business. And I'm not saying you have to go viral. I'm not saying you have to become the next Elon Musk. I'm not saying you need to do that. In your world, in your circle, and your circle can be as small as you want it to be or as big as you want it to be. That is absolutely 100% up to you. But for reputation, which is a word that everybody knows, regardless of what business you're in, everybody knows what reputation is. For your reputation to precede itself, you've heard that before, right? You need people to know what to say about you. So if I want you to repeat something about me, I want you to repeat, oh, she talks a lot about personal branding, and she does it through content. And the reason I love doing it through content is because that's the way to put it out there. That's the way to test your messaging. That's the way to find your voice all for free before you start throwing. And I love ads. I'm not saying not to do them, but you want to figure out all that preliminary stuff and dial it in as much as humanly possible before you really ramp it up. All right. So first C is clarity. Clarity. You want to be so clear in what you want to say, what you think is important in your movement, whether you end up coming up with a movement or not, right? So I mentioned like pulling on the heartstrings. You don't want people to feel sorry for you. That is farthest thing from what I'm saying. You want people to resonate with you, but for people to resonate with you, it has to be emotional to them, not to you, not about how they feel about you, but about them. Remember, business marketing, it's them, not you. So people get this a little bit confused, but the me, them part, it's about them. So you need to be super clear in your messaging, but your messaging needs to hit them emotionally. Hope that hit home. All right, so I'm going to look at my notes a little bit because I want to make sure that I'm going through them. But one of the things is, so some of the ways for clarity. Some of the ways for clarity. Be very concise. Don't blah, 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 blah. That's how you lose people. So I always talk about the language school that I own. I'm going to generalize, and don't kill me if you are Hispanic. I heard the other day that you should say Hispanic and not Latin. And I guess I say Latin because I'm in Latin America, but Hispanics. And maybe it's only Latins. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to just say some people. Some people write very with a lot of words, with a lot of words, and speak with a lot of words. And I studied business, and in business, it's be as concise as possible. If you can chop off the words, chop them off. You want to say as few words as possible. Messaging is very similar to that, in that you don't want to add a bunch of fluff to it because you want them to understand. You need a personal brand to build audience, to build reputation. Yes, it all kind of goes back. All right, so you want people to understand exactly what you're saying. So be concise. Use familiar language. That means you've heard this before, but speak on a level that everybody can understand. And unless your market is, you know, academics, unless your market is scientific or academics, and if you're speaking to teachers, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about, whatever, other people. So unless your market is that, then you really want to speak on a very basic level. And they say, I've heard sixth grade, I've heard second grade, whatever. Just keep it, I would say 10 years old. I think that's a good level. You want to keep it familiar, friendly. You don't want to add too much jargon to what you're saying because people that are maybe newer to it are not going to understand that. So you want to keep your language very familiar, unless your market is at a higher stage and you're speaking directly to that market, because if then you're going to alienate those people at the beginning, and that's okay. So keep it average to your market, but you see what I'm saying. Visuals, always use as many visuals as possible. It really helps. We were talking about this the other day with my clients. When you're talking about your programs, if you can map out the roadmap, show them a roadmap. If you're like my 30 and 30 is a circle, I can show a circular graph of the steps that they'll go through. My star formula, it's a 4-point star because there are four things to star formula, whatever. If you can show visuals, that really helps. And test and refine. And that's what I was saying with doing your organic marketing first and really getting your content out there is test and refine. You will find your own voice. You'll start finding out what you really love to speak about, how you like to speak about it, where you like to speak about it, how often, how much, how long, how short, that type of stuff. You'll figure out for yourself, but you'll also figure it out for your market. What are they resonating with? What do they like to hear? How long do they want it? How short do they want it? All of that stuff. So test and refine. So let's talk about some examples. And this is another example that I use all of the time for everything because everybody knows what it is. Just do it. So what is the messaging behind that? Is it only elite athletes that can resonate with that message? No. It's telling all of us, hey, step up to the plate and go for it. Your dreams, your desire, aspirations, whatever it is, step up to the plate and really just go for it. And that's what Just Do It is about. Hopefully you guys can hear me. My microphone was turned to the entire other way. Airbnb, Belong Anywhere. They want everyone to resonate with that, but they also want you to resonate with that travel kind of experience that they want people to love. Like go to a different place, experience a different way. Not everything is, a black and white hotel. Experience life in different ways. And that's what that Belong Anywhere is. And then Dev's Real Beauty, another one I always talk about, but I think every woman can relate in some way, shape, or form to Dev's Real Beauty campaigns. All right. Next one. Connection. And I've probably already beat this to the whatever you say, dead by now, but connection. And that means relate to them. How are we going to relate to them? And it has to be on an emotional level. So you can relate to people, when you very first meet someone, you try to find things like commonalities. Oh, we both have children, or, oh, we both went to University of Georgia, or, oh, we both have traveled to Paris, or whatever it is. You want to try to find some sort of connection with them. And the reason for that is because you're forming a relationship, and that connection is going to help you do that. The more emotional that connection is, the stronger that bond is. So if we both went to University of Georgia, now we speak the same language. Now we can say, go dogs. Now we can go, hoo, 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 and not sound like complete idiots when you're live doing that, right? Now we can both wear a red and black, or talk about, ringing the bell, whatever it is. We can talk about a lot. We have our own language and we know the same places. We can talk about, hey, did you used to go here? Depending on if we're around the same age, that type of thing. So that creates an emotional bond to each other as well. So that connection is something that you really want to get into. Let me see. Oh, okay. So real world impact, like a girl. Who knows that? The always pads. Can you talk about this in a live? But like a girl campaigns are awesome. I'm sure I've used that a million times too, because they were really, really great. They made the Like a Girl campaigns were girls playing softball and all sorts of different sports and fish like a girl. We have that one over here. So all different types of ways that you want to leverage emotion. And if you have a daughter, you are going to connect with that messaging. Let's see. So first, what do you want to do? You want to connect with some sort of an emotion. And if you're talking about your business, money, profits, all words that I love are not things that are going to create a connection. That's not going to really hit somebody on an emotional level. But, having the lights turned off in your house and having your kids come home and say, hey, daddy, why are the lights turned off? If that's happened to you, that's going to touch somebody emotionally. Again, it's about money, but, you told your kids, I work a lot with Mike Harrison, and one of his things that he talks, a story that he always tells is how he told his kids he was going to take them to Disney. And he told them, and he told them, and he told them, and he had a particular, when your sister turns 10. Well, when the sister turned 10, he was not in a position to take them to Disney, but he had to take them to Disney. So move hell or high water, he was getting them to Disney. That touches people on an emotional level. We've all made promises that there's no way we want to break. There is nothing that will stop us from making that happen. So that type of thing connects with people. It touches people on an emotional level that they can relate to. You want to figure out what are those stories that you can tell that will help people relate to you, your business, your message, your brand, your personal brand, whatever it is. So identify the core emotions that you want people to be able to relate to, and they can change. It doesn't have to be one, right? It doesn't have to be one in your messaging. It can change a little bit. Authenticity, you want to definitely be as authentic as possible. So another one that I always talk about, Patagonia, don't buy this jacket campaign. They were talking about, and that was about their own, right? Unnecessary purchases, about making things last. They fix people's, clothing and stuff at Patagonia because that is their market. That's their message. They want people to recycle, respect the environment, use things over and over. Fast fashion is like so taboo to anybody who would ever spend money at Patagonia. It's complete opposite. So they dive, that message goes in every single thing that they do. And it's not, just do it. They don't have like a succinct message like that, which I love and is super cool. But you get the message with everything that they say and do. And that's the most important part, right? So language, imagery, you want to make sure that everything that you do goes back to what that messaging is. If trust is your big thing, blue is a big trust color. If you've ever noticed, like banks have, like and trust. Banks have a lot of blue in their logos and in their actual banks, and because blue instills trust. All right, methods of infusing messages with emotional tone. So we're going to talk about this first one in a minute, but emotional storytelling. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So sensory language, superlatives, do you ever use, use your adjectives a lot. Really get into how do you want to describe that? Have you ever seen the wheel? I want to call it the emotion wheel, but I could be making that up. If you know what it's called, drop it down below. If you have the link to it, drop that down below. I'll come back and drop it in a link, but it's called like the emotional wheel or wheel of emotion or something like that. And on the inner circle, it has those basic emotional words, I'm mad, I'm sad, I'm happy, has those words. And then there's a second layer, and then there's a third layer, where you get to words like I'm so ecstatic about what's going on. And that is a whole different level of happy, right? A whole different level. So the emotion wheel basically is talking about that. Don't use happy, use ecstatic. Use words that really pull people into your messaging. Interactive engagement, get people involved in what you're doing. So how can you have interactive engagement on something like this? I can help, hey, chat that in here if you know it. In our social media, drop elevate if you want. I'm going to just throw this in here. We're doing a challenge coming up. So if you are ready to elevate your online presence, drop elevate and I will send you an invite to that. So that is interactive, right? I'm saying, hey, drop elevate. Why do I keep going on the wrong side? Drop elevate and you're dropping elevate. We are interacting. You get it? That's one of the ways to do it. Polls is another way to be interactive. Get people's responses, ask questions, get answers, that type of thing. What else? Those were great examples. All right, feedback loops. Do as many and as often as you can. Don't annoy people. When the whole poll thing got really big, it started getting annoying. Don't get annoying, but you still want to ask people all of the time. Make sure that in your content calendar, that's something that you have in there. Those feedback loops are really important. If at the moment you don't have people responding to you, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's, create those SOPs before you get the VAs. Same thing here. Create it into your consistency, create it into your content calendar now, because when people do start responding, you're going to be in the habit of adding all of that in, and all of it is very important. So feedback loops. We did a whole episode on feedback loops a while ago now. If you want that, just chat me, I'll link you to it. Feedback loops. All right, so next one is character. Now, I used character because storytelling did not go with my C's. So character was better with the cheese, but character, I'm talking about that emotional storytelling that we were just talking about, right? But character-driven narratives, have heroes, have people in your story. And remember, the hero of the story is not you. It's your audience. Make them the hero of the stories. Make them, I thought I just ran over my dog. Make them the hero if you can. But character-driven narratives, iconic examples. I use a lot of Elon Musk and just stories about big brands and big things. Why? Because everybody can resonate with them. I want everybody to understand, which campaign I'm talking about, what was going on. So that's really good. Relatable, 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 the biggest word. Let me see. Tony the okay. I just want to do a quick little rant really quickly. So it's funny because as smaller businesses, we really have a lot more advantages that bigger businesses don't have. And we're not, as a whole, taking advantage of these. And personal branding is one of the biggest advantages of being a small business. We can grow a personal brand into a very large brand, right? Quickly. Why is a personal brand? I'm not saying don't grow your brand, but a personal brand, I dare to say, is better than your real brand. And the reason why is because it is very difficult to get emotion behind a brand without a person. And that's why all of the big brands, Nike, they always have like a face of their promotions. They always have people behind their promotions because they're creating those personal brands. They're creating what you already have. People want to get behind people. They want to relate to you. They want to understand you. They want to know you. And that's why Nike wants to use these famous people that people want to get behind, that people love. And that's why when one of those people falls from grace, they get their thing taken away, because we want people that people want to resonate with and emulate and follow. And, that's what a personal brand is all about. So a personal brand does so many things. And with AI coming out, this is going to be more and more and more important to show who you are. And, this faceless reels, I'm all about it. But how can you make it personalized to you? How can you make it more about who you are and what you're all about? And with your messaging, how can you do that in a faceless reel? You're going to have to start figuring that out if you want to do faceless reels. And I would say add face. I do not recommend having an entire business on faceless reels. Personally, just me, I'm all about the personal brand. So definitely get on video, but definitely add that in as well, because you can crank those out a whole lot faster. So add some of those in then, and add yourself in as well. But how can you make those personal? So maybe I go, everybody knows I live in Panama. I love the ocean, the sea. That's a big part of what I'm all about. So in my faceless reels, it's always something with the ocean or the beach, if I was at the beach more, but I'm more in a boat than the beach, but whatever. That's what my faceless reels will be, and should be, because that's a little bit more about me, right? Or my dog, Mahi. Those could be my faceless reels. All right. Let me just check my thing. Oh, so Tony the Tiger. Who doesn't remember Tony the Tiger? That's kind of an iconic example of them creating their personal brand. That is them creating it. Why? Because people can get behind Tony the Tiger. Nobody gets behind Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. They get behind Tony the Tiger. They love Tony the Tiger. Do you see where I'm going with this? So that character is really, really, really important. Who else? Oh, the M&Ms, the little M&Ms characters. Yeah, we can relate, because they make them into, they personify them. Or, bringing in the English stuff here. They personify them. So there's a psychological connection. People want to know who you are and what you're all about when you're building a personal brand, because they want to be able to connect with you on certain levels and in certain ways. So as much as you can bring that out, the more impactful your messaging, your brand, your personal brand will be, the farther it will go. All right, so you got that down. Make sure that your characters are relatable. I want to do another little mini rant here real quick, but sometimes people in general, they hear things in our space and they go for it without understanding necessarily what's behind it. So in this, I'm saying relate to people, but there's another, I don't know if it's saying or messaging or whatever it is, that you should never really share something with the world that is still an open wound. That's still an open wound. You want to share it once it's scarred over. Maybe even just scabbed, but scarred over. You want to share it after the fact. Why? Because when you're still going in it, people will feel sorry for you. People will, that's the best example I can think of, right? People will feel sorry for you. That is not what you're going for here. That is not how we want people to relate to us. That's not what we're going for here. What we want is people to relate to that horrible story that they are in the midst of right now, right? But you have overcome it. You've gotten past it. They want to see that other side of that. Misery loves company. Yes, you can build a very big following by sharing your misery, because misery loves company. But it does not mean that you are going to build a brand that is going to then be profitable and that you can monetize later on. So be very, very careful of how you tell your stories and when you tell your stories. And I'm not saying you should not share your stories. You absolutely 100% should, but you want to bring them through that emotion and let them see that there is another side. And that's where you come in to help them, right? That's where you want to bring those stories in. So be careful about how you share those stories. Consistent character traits. You are who you are. Don't try to be somebody that you're not, because your mom always told you always get caught in a lie in the end. And it's true. If you are faking a British accent, why would you do that? I have no idea, but I just made that up. If you're faking a British accent and then all of a sudden you meet somebody somewhere and you're not faking the British accent, and then later on they see you online and you're faking the British accent, right? You've broken the trust. You've broken all sorts of bonds and anything that they thought of who you were. You don't want to do that. Be authentic in every single thing that you do. Just be you. That is the best way to stand out. That's the best way to get your message out. Make it be your messaging, not somebody else's messaging. When you first start off, I get that we, and I don't want to use the word copy, but I get that we follow people and emulate, I get that we do that. But quickly, that is not who you want to be. You want to be you. So quickly figure out what you're loving, what you're not in this person, and mix it up to figure out how you're going to show up and how, maybe you already know, maybe you don't, but don't shy away from who you are. Lean in to who you are. Again, with the language school, but one of the things that second language learners always want to do is, I hear this a lot in our space, like, oh, but I have an accent. Oh, but, people can't relate. Yes, a million people, like millions of people have accents and they can relate to that. And even if it's not an accent, how could people relate to you having an accent? Because they're not perfect either in any way. So if I come on here and stumble a little bit, people relate to that because they stumble too. When I crashed and burned on my face, that was kind of why I wanted to put it out there. I wanted people to understand we all crash and burn, but how do you show up afterwards? What do you do afterwards? I want you to know, like, that's what I want you to know. That's part of my messaging is just go out there and do it. Show up a little bit messy and get out there and do it. But, some people will relate to that messaging and some people will be horrified by the thought of showing up and messing up a little bit. And if that's you, you're probably not in my world, right? Anyway, so you want to be consistent. You want people to see you for who you are because that's who you are. You want to hang out with people that love you for who you are. You don't want to have to try to pretend you're somebody else every single time you see them. And especially if you're creating groups or audiences or the bigger you get, you want to be able to be you. So be you. Let people love you for who you are. That's the best way I can say that. All right. And that comes with your core values and who you are and what you're all about. You want to express that in everything that you do and make sure that you're showing up with those values. All right. Let's see. Oh, character development. All right. So create archetypes. I don't know if you've ever heard that word before, but figure out kind of who you are or what story you want to tell, and then stick to that archetype. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google that word. It's ARCHETYPES. I would have a slide that said it, but I didn't feel like making slides. Archetype. So try to figure out like what archetype you are. And that may change in different situations and different stories and in different ways that you're hitting it. But make sure you know that ahead of time so that you can see, did I nail it? Did I really do it? Do I need to add an extra story? Should I, take some wording out? Whatever it is, you want to know that ahead of time so that you can make sure that you're sticking to it and, not going off script, not going off in la la land over there. Emotional depth. So if you are creating characters like Tony the Tiger, You know, if you're the faceless real person and you're creating characters, say now with AI, a lot more people are going to be creating characters, but create a character who you can stand behind, that has your values, that shares, you know, your thoughts and your ideas and your emotions, and help people to really understand that. So for those of you who read, I'm an avid reader, you will get this. If you don't really read, I'm going to give a different example in a second, but for those of you that read, you will really get this. But when you see a movie after you've read a book, it never does the characters correctly. They never get it right, because you've built up this character in your head of who that character should be based on amazing writing and drawing. If you read a lot, you're reading books where they really draw out characters, and you get like the nitty gritty, and you can start thinking of what he would do in that situation. Right? Those are really great characters. If you've ever read books that have the same character over and over and over in book after book, I love those. You understand what that character is going to do, how he's going to act. You know, if you don't like to read, if you watch, you know, CSI or whatever, you know, you start to understand the characters in there and how they act and what they do. So people start to understand you. You are the character in your story. Be that character. People understand that I'm a little bit nutty, that I go out there, I'm loud, I speak fast, my colors are crazy. People get that about me. And if I started showing up in, you know, just looking all perfect in black suits and everything was, you know, very uber professional without a little bit of Erica, you know, this is obviously, I don't create these. These are way more professional than I would create, but they've still got Erica in them. You can still feel the essence of Erica. And so you need to make sure that even if you have somebody else doing your stuff, it has to have your essence. And if they don't understand your essence, you have to keep explaining it to them until they get it, because your stuff needs to have your essence, whether it's your you know, graphics, whether it's your messaging, how you put it out there, your faceless reels. And I keep going back to that because you see so many faceless reels that look so alike right now. Well, that's crazy. It's not showing your essence in there, is it? So add you in there. Make sure you have that. All right. Emotional depth and audience participation. Make sure that you are engaging your audience. Make sure that your character is one that they want to relate to, that they want to be around, that they want to help, that they want to, right, help push your message. All right, CTA's calls to action. You want to make sure that you have calls to action in every single thing that you do. And that may sound crazy. May sound crazy, but you still want calls to action. And it doesn't have to be by now. It doesn't. It can be, hey, drop elevate below if you are ready to elevate your online presence. We are our 5-day challenge is coming up and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. We haven't had one in a while. So yes, let's get into it. Okay, so your CTA is going to be your invitation for them to engage, elevate and engage with you. I was trying to point at the slide. I don't know where that is. Anyway, elevate and engage. You want to always be engaging your audience. So your CTA is that, and it should be call to action, but people equate it with a buy button. But that's like one of a million ways you can have a call to action. Hey, what did you think about this presentation today? I want to know, what did you think about this presentation today? I had very few slides. Was it okay? Drop a thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know what you think about this presentation today with less slides. Was it okay? Give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. That's a call to action, right? I'm asking for your opinion. I'm trying to get you involved. I'm getting feedback like, oh my God, if everybody gives me a thumbs down, I'm never going to do this again. Even if I have the hand issue, I'll get somebody else to type it up. If everybody gives me a thumbs up, I know every now and then I can just revert to a couple of slides and it's a-okay, no issues, right? So let me know. Thumbs up, a-okay, thumbs down. Add those slides back in, girl. Whichever one. All right, so call to action. Clarity again, be specific. Be specific. Tell people exactly what you want them to do. Drop elevate if you want an invitation. Thumbs up if you thought this presentation was okay with fewer slides. Thumbs down if you're like, we need the slides, bring them back. So be very specific in what you want people to do, how you want them to say it. Make it emotional if you can. You know, is there any emotion in what the ones that I just said? I don't know. Maybe, you know, if you're all about making sure that you can reach more people, and you know, you following what I'm putting out there, you get my messaging and you're like, yes, yes, you know, she's so right. I have to put myself out there if I want to elevate my online presence to impact more people. If you get that, then, you know, this is something you're interested in. If you're like, I can do that without doing that, more power to you. There have been a few, but the norm is not. So you need to build your audience. And the only way to do that is to put yourself out there. Get out there. All right. Emotional visual design. You want things to resonate. When we're talking about calls to action, again, if there's a big button, will they notice it? Yes, if it's a big button, they will. If I say, you know, thumbs down, thumbs up, you can see that. That's very visual, right? When I say elevate your online presence and I say drop it below, I'm pointing. You get that. So be as visual as possible. Test optimization, test things. I heard the other day the perfect color for a button is orange. True or not? I don't know. True for their audience and not mine? Might be. Test it, test it, test it. And make sure that you stay in alignment with your values and your audience's values, which hopefully are somewhat aligned. All right. You can use it a CTA, and I just gave you a bunch of different ways that you can use it, right? To get that feedback, good presentation, bad presentation, to get, you want an invitation, drop elevate. Yeah, you see buy now buttons, you know, we talked about a couple of different ways. All right, so we want people to buy into, and doesn't necessarily mean purchase, but we want people to buy into what we're doing. And so every time we can get somebody to show up live, every time we can get somebody to actually drop their comments in there, every time we can get people to do more and more things, that they're more and more bought into who you are, what you're all about, what your messaging is, and everything that you're doing. So drop something down there. Let me think. CTA, if you get what I'm talking about. CTA, if you get what I'm talking about. All right, conversion catalyst. We talked about that in the 5-day challenge, but you want to make sure that that it's converting. You want to make sure that you're tracking everything. All right, make them impactful. What else do I say? I'm repeating. Join now, get premium, right? Upgrade if you want, blah, blah, blah. You've seen all of those. All right, make them meaningful. All right, go to the next one. We're almost done, guys. We are almost done. And I did the guy in push-ups because we can all relate. We can all relate. You cannot do a push-up and have a body like his. It's just not going to happen, right? If you want a body like that, you're going to have to do push-up after push-up after push. If you want to be able to do 5 push-ups, you have to consistently do 1, 1, 1 until you can do 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, right? You might have to work up to those 5. Maybe you can't just get down and do 5. But it's consistency. If you say, I'm going to do 5 push-ups and you get down and you can't do a half of 1, you're not going to get to 5 until you can get to 1. Over and over and over and over and over. So same thing in our business. People are not going to hear your message until you get it out there over and over and over and over and over. You're repeating it. And it doesn't mean, again, I love the catchphrases. just do it. I love that. But it doesn't have to be a catchphrase. You can be going on talking about how important putting yourself out there is to your personal brand, to building your impact and getting your message out there. Did you see how I just looped that in there? Yep. All right. So you want to make sure that you are unified in everything that you're saying in your messaging. If all of a sudden I came up with this, click this and you'll get rich overnight type thing, it would kind of go against what I'm saying, because what I teach is build real business. We all love that quick fix. We all love the tactics that you can do right now, and it works. And I still try them all. I'm not saying not to do that, but at the core, you need to be building a real business. You need to be building a real audience. You need to build that up. It takes time. It takes time. You have to start right now and build it. And the only way you're going to build it is through your authentic self, because people want to get behind you. They want to get behind your messaging. They want to get behind what you believe, and they want to believe that. And they want to be able to tell other people the same thing that you're telling them. All right. So your brand of voice, we talked about voice, and I believe in content marketing a lot, because I think that when people start putting themselves out there, they start finding their own voice. And I cannot tell you how many of my clients start getting themselves out there and totally 360 what they're even doing. And you're like, oh my God, that's crazy. Why would they do that? Because they haven't been putting themselves out before now. Now that they're putting themselves out there, they realize, hey, this isn't really who I am, what I want to do. I want to do this, Now they've opened their space in their world to be able to do that. And bonus, they don't really have a huge audience yet. And so it's easy to still jump into something else. Can you do it if you have a huge audience? Yes. If you have built a personal brand around you and not a product, you can do that. If you have built your brand around a product, they're not going to follow you somewhere else. They're going to follow that brand. So you sell it and they're going to stay with the brand. You see that? Which is okay. That's why you want both. That's why you want both. You want to build that brand and build your personal brand, so that maybe your exit strategy is to sell the brand, but you need to build a brand that people will still stand behind. Well, the fastest way to do that is to build your personal brand, align it with the brand, and then keep the brand going. Do you see how that works? So it's faster if you attach it with your personal brand first. But once you get it going, it can, help build itself, because then you've got ambassadors. Then you have your raving fans. Then you have people sending that message. Your reputation precedes you at that point. You have people tell their own stories. The UGC, user generated content, that can build it. At that stage, the personal brand isn't as important, but look around at the big brands. What are they doing? They're still trying to get that personal brand. So even if you sold your company, the people who bought your company may ask you, hey, can you still be the brand? That's something you need to think about ahead of time, right? Or can you put somebody else in there? How are you going to do that? All right. Consistency. I should have gone into consistency a little bit more. I just want to say 3 more things, and then we will go to this next week. But your consistency across platforms, make sure it's totally aligned. Make sure your colors are the same, your logos are the same, you're talking about the same thing. More importantly, everybody thinks everything is colors and logo. More importantly is you show up the same. You're talking about the same stuff. Your messaging is the same. Use content calendars, use brand guidelines. I had to start doing this at the beginning, because I think I told you this, but one of my clients called me out on my crazy 186 different colors. And my brand may be changing a little bit right now, because The current people I'm working with are like, Erica, the neon is just not doing it. So they want to change it a little bit, and we're in the negotiation stages. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It'll probably be very similar, but different. But you can tell when they do it, they're way more professional than when I do it. All right. So I'm trying to lean in a little bit, but not get rid of the Erica essence. All right. What else did I want to talk about? Regular audits, feedback loops. Make sure you're using that. What can you use? Content calendar. Content calendar. Schedule your stuff. That really helps a lot. Schedule. What else? Once you get team, collaboration tools, blah, blah, blah. All right, that was pretty much everything I wanted to say. So 5 things that you want to, 5 secrets, right? The 5 secrets: clarity, connection, character, call to action, and consistency. You need all of those in your messaging at all times. At all times, you need to be doing that. So if you've ever met a person that sells, you need to be selling at all times. Take that as your call to action. It doesn't necessarily mean to be buy, 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 buy. But your call to action is going to be having people engage with you at all times. And you do need to be selling also, but your call to action is going to keep people engaging with you interactively. All right, next week on Elevate and Engage, how to forge an unbreakable mindset. 7 key strategies for success. Just for a little bit of background, but those of you who know me know that I've been doing this since 2007. When you work with small business owners, 99.99999% of the time, the bottleneck in a business is the owner or the owners, right? If it's a large corporation, it's red tape. But in a smaller one, and that red tape is probably because of somebody. Just saying. Just saying. So unbreakable mindset is really important. I saw an awesome post the other day where God, I wish I had her last name, but Sydney is her name. Did this post the other day. She does Our League if you're in there. Anyway, she did a great post the other day. She was putting something out on her feed talking about, I'm starting to delete all of the people who don't engage, and my count is really high and I need to start deleting the people. And so somebody in her comments basically said, that's just a marketing ploy. You're just trying to get attention, or I don't know what. So she creates this entire post, very negative, down on her, like, you're just trying to do this, whatever. So she creates this post and she says, number 1, yes, it is a marketing ploy, admittedly so. I want people that engage with me. I want to be able to call them out and say, hey, I love that. Or you guys that aren't engaging, step up, let's engage. That is a great thing. Why wouldn't you want that? This is a business. This is a business. And this is what she was saying in her message. This is a business. Why wouldn't you want that? Of course, we all want that. Right? But the other message that she was getting across was people who put those nasty messages in your comments typically are, number 1, not where they want to be. They financially or mentally or abundantly, they're not confident people. They're self-doubting people. They're, a lot of different things. So when we talk about an unbreakable mindset, that's one of the things that we're going to talk about is you need to always remind yourself, as long as you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart, as long as you're, we all make mistakes. We all do things that, maybe we're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. In this case, yes, she should have done that. There was nothing wrong with what she was doing. Nothing whatsoever. But more than that message of what she was doing was the message about support people, support other people. Make sure that that is one of your core values. And are you living in alignment with that? If a coach is in somebody else's, in another coach's thread or thing, saying nasty stuff like that. Who wants to have a coach like that? Nobody, nobody. As coaches, most of us are not like that at all. But if you catch yourself, feeling that or like, dying to write that, catch yourself and remind yourself, who am I? Who am I? Am I living in alignment with who I think I am? I'm a way better person than that. I want to support what she's doing. I want to, maybe if you really thought it was a horrible idea, send it in the DMs. If somebody makes a mistake in public, don't publicly humiliate them. Is that who you want to be? So I think mindset, we need to remind ourselves when somebody does that to us, they're not in a right place. It has nothing to do with us or what we're doing. So that's one of the mindset things that we will go over. All right, last slide. Oh, see how pretty this is? Yes, I did not do it. Whenever you look at something of mine and you're like, wow, that looks so great, because I didn't do it. Anyway, elevate your online presence, Content Fusion 5-day challenge coming up. I am so excited. Join us now, April 24th, 25th, and 26th, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, skipping the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, 29th, 30th. I am excited. I cannot wait. Let's end this month, the first month of second quarter, on a high note. If you are not where you want to be, if you're not already elevating your online presence, if you are where you want to be and you just want to get involved and have, a little bit of motivation and excitement and get going, I love doing these things so I can get on fire. I want you to be there. Join us now. Drop Elevate if you want to be a part of it. I cannot wait to see you there. Ciao, ciao. See you next week, next Thursday, same time, same place. If you are not registering for these, I want you to make sure you register. It's elevateandengage.com. Make sure you register because that's where you'll be getting the emails and the reminders. You can also sign up for the Zoom and you can get in the backstage with me here. Love to see you back here because when we stop this, we have the backstage. All right, ciao, ciao.